you. Thank you guys for tuning back in with us. This is 1 Hour Success. I'm your host, JD, and I'm talking today with immigration attorney, Bruna, and she's talking to us. We just started talking about F1 students and immigration status and how you can. I'm about to ask you how can F1 students exchange their visa to a green card or to a permanent visa.
Right. So I guess I was talking about what was the main difference between having the green card or having temporary visa, right? So with the green card, you have more flexibility on finding the job that you want to work with. And you have the flexibility of, as I said, remain in the US indefinitely, just reside in the US. So those are, I think this is what people, they are more concerned with. And you can also qualify for to get, like, for example, Medicare when you are over 65, for example, which usually you are not going to be able to qualify if you only have a temporary visa. So when you have an F1 OPT, for example, F1 visa, and you want to switch to a green card, it really depends on what are your professional achievements. If you want to self-sponsor the green card, of course. If you have a sponsor to sponsor a green card for you, then we have several other options, okay? However, the main options available for companies that want to sponsor your green card, the companies would have to go through a process called labor certification and show to the US government that they were not able to find an American or a green card holder that are willing, capable, available to accept the position being offered. And on the other hand, if you qualify based on your professional achievements and you are self-sponsored, you have to show that you are either a person of extraordinary ability in the business, science, arts, or athletics, as I was explaining to you with the O1. Money helps. Too, right? Yeah, money too. If you have money, you can also buy a green card, which is called the investor green card, the EB-5.
How much is
So before last year, it was 500,000 if you invested on a project that was approved by the government. But if you want to open your own business, then the investment was much higher. It was 1 million. But then since last year, end of last year, the threshold amount increased from 500 to 800,000, and then from 1 million to 1.2 million.
why? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Why? Just because the government, they wanted to get more money, of course, and there was like every year, the senators and the Congress, they wanted to always revise that threshold because the threshold has been around for a long, long, long time. And finally, after a lot of like years of pushback, people being against on the raise, they were able to pass it. But other than you being able to self-sponsor with some of the green cards that are based on the professional achievements, usually on the employment side is if you have a sponsor, like a company sponsoring you. But if you also have, for example, if you meet your sweetheart during college and the sweetheart is American or a resident, they can also sponsor your green card. Those are the main options. However, for example, if you have been persecuted in your own country and the police or the government cannot protect you, you might qualify for an asylum. Or if you have been a victim of crime, you might qualify for a visa called U visa. Or, I mean, there are plenty of other options, but the ones that I have been like talking about repeatedly, it's the employment and the family options. They will be based on sponsorship. So Fabio just talked about the EB2, and it's very, very I guess everybody in Brazil have been talking about the EB2 National Interest Waiver. And this is usually the type of green card that I file for my engineers here in Houston, or people, for example, in the technology field. As long as you show that you are an advanced degree professional, meaning you have a master's or a bachelor's plus 5 years of postgraduate progressive experience, or you have exceptional ability, and you show that your field of endeavor has a substantial intrinsic merit, and the government, the US government, is interested on getting you over because you have a model or a plan to put this field of endeavor in action, and it's gonna bring some national benefits to the United States. That's called the EB2 National Interest Waiver Visa, and you don't need a sponsor.
So the EB2,
EB2.
I want to ask you two questions. One is because of, just to update everybody that just tuned in with us, can you name it, all the options that international students has to become legal in the United States? And then my question about EB2 is, why is EB2 so more popular right now? Like you said, everybody in Brazil right now is kind of chasing that. Why is it becoming more popular right now than before? What changed on the laws?
Okay, I'll go back to the types of visas and green cards that F1 students would most likely qualify, which are the most popular ones that they would get after graduating. The first one is the H1B, that I guess most of the people know about. The second one is the O1, extra ability non-immigrant visa. You have the P visa, which is for athletes. For example, if you were an athlete during school and you are really good on what you do, and maybe you go and you play for a major league, you might qualify for a P athlete visa. You have the E visa, which is the treaty trader or the treaty investor. You have the E3, if you have, for example, an Australian passport. You have the H1B1, which are for people that also have Chilean or Singaporean nationality. You have, let me think, the J visa, which is more of the exchange student visa. And sometimes people will go from a school to be a professor, or you can be a scholar, you can go and start doing your PhD, your master's. Some schools would apply for J1 instead of continuing with the F1. You have the L1 visa, which is more related to multinational company transfers. That's not common for F1s, but it's there.
A quick question. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you from what you're thinking, but you also said if you become a professor, a student that has an F1 visa, if he applies to become a professor, he may get a green card or
yeah. So
how does it work?
Yeah, in that case, the school, in that case, the college or university can apply for the H1B. And if
it's
this,
just like any other big company, the school is going to apply for it.
Right. So the difference is that there is no quota because it's an education institution. So there is no annual quota. So you don't have to go through the lottery.
Okay.
But
so it's easier,
and then if
right?
it's easier, yes. But if, for example, if you are recognized internationally as a professor, for example, or maybe as a researcher, that university can also apply for your green card under the EB1 for outstanding researchers or professors, which requires a sponsorship as well, but is also under the priority workers green card. So I guess, JD, is not a simple question to just like list the
I'll ask
types
you
of
because
visas that
give
the
you a
person
call
would
because
qualify.
this is a big subject. I understand.
It is, it is. I
And
mean,
we have a
we
lot
have
more
so
to talk
much,
about.
and we
True,
have so
true.
much to cover that it's impossible to tackle one one question, because I guess I go so deep into the subject that it gets
Yeah.
harder to tackle every aspect of every visa. And then as far as green card, you have the EB1 for priority workers. There are three types. The first one is the extraordinary ability, whether you can self-sponsor or you can have a sponsor. As long as you show, this is basically only on you, whether you have extraordinary ability in the science, athletics, arts, or science. Then the second one is the EB1B, if you are an outstanding professor or researcher, but you need a sponsorship. And the third one is the for EB1C for multinational managers or executives. And this is usually done by the companies that would bring someone with an L1A, because the requirements are very similar. Then you go to the EB2 category, whether you can be self-sponsored under the national interest waiver, or you have a sponsor and the sponsor will go through the labor certification with you. Then the third one is for professionals, unskilled, skilled, and others. You have the main one is if you have, the company would have to go for a labor certification with you. And there is one type of EB3, it's called the Schedule A, whether nurses and physical therapists are needed. There is a shortage of those two professions in the US.
Especially
So
right
the
now.
sponsors, yeah, so the sponsors, they don't have to go through the labor certification process, but they still have to sponsor for the green card. Then you have the EB4 for religious people. Then you have the EB5, the investors, that the threshold amount, it's very high nowadays. Those are the
Well,
main green cards based on employment. Then you have the
I
family
wanna
ones.
I wanna jump to the business and work visas, but I can go before I ask you. You just mentioned about uh,
Religious. Uh-huh.
religious visa.
Yes.
How does it work? I
So,
never heard about that.
yeah, so for example, if you are a
I'm a man
pastor,
of God, but God haven't
no,
blessed
you
me
have
that
to
much to know
be,
this stuff yet. Just
yeah,
right now.
you have to be the spiritual leader of a denomination.
Oh, okay. Like priester for universal churches and stuff like that.
Right.
Okay, I
Then
got it.
if you have experience being a spiritual leader in one denomination and you were transferred to the US with a visa called R visa, after you have been here for 2 years, that same denomination can sponsor your green card, and it's the EB4.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna leave this the rest of the questions for the people who are trying to get in contact with you. Just to let you
Yeah.
know, guys, we're gonna leave after we edit. We're gonna leave the information for Bruna Frota, so you can guys contact her and call and ask more questions. And also, she'll have more time just to focus on you. Whoever you are, anywhere in the world, you can send an email, call, right, Bruna? What else? How can people contact you? Just before we go to a different subject.
Well, they can call me, they can WhatsApp me, they can send mail, they can email, they can send
Instagram?
direct, Instagram, Facebook.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I definitely need to rush to the how and how long does it take to acquire a business visa work for to work in the United States? I mean, not to
It,
work, to bring your to bring your business. Let's say I have a business overseas. I have any type of business, like I sell reservoir residues for anything, and it's based overseas, or I sell diamonds overseas, and I want to open my store, luxury store or business here. How does it work, and how long does it take for this to happen?
so I guess there are three aspects to your question. The first one is the tax aspect. the accounting, right, aspect. The second one is the legal aspect on how to actually open your own business. And the third one is the license, whether you need a license to sell your products or services in the US, on how you're gonna pay, for example, sales taxes in the US. So the US is it's very friendly for business owners. That's hands down. There is no discussion about it. I mean, of course, you have to pay taxes, right? But at least you know where your money is going to, right? It's not like there is no, I think we have corruption, but at least it's not as scandalous and as big, for example, as in Brazil. I cannot even compare. So at least I know I'm paying taxes. Right. I cannot, I don't have an opinion about that. I mean, I have an opinion about Brazil.
Me neither.
But,
I'm just doing
right.
my job.
So at least, I mean, we pay taxes, it's high, but I think you are well compensated, and you pay taxes, but you get some of that money in return with good schools, good roads, healthcare. I'm not going to talk about it because there is no free healthcare. You have to be able to have money to pay for your healthcare here in the US. So that's the three main things, right, that you have to be concerned with. And there are some states that are more friendly to open a business inside the US. So the most popular state to open a business is Delaware. So that's why you see a lot of companies being open in Delaware, but doing business in another state. I can talk about Texas because that's where I practice the most, and that's where Texas and New York, where I can open the companies. In Texas, I can open a company, for example, in 72 hours. It's very quick, very easy. Yes, very easy, very quick. And once you open your company, then it depends on who are the shareholders, right? Who are the members of that company? Then you are able to select what type of tax entity your company will be. If it's going to be taxed as a partnership, as a corporation. So that's another question. You have your legal entity that can be, for example, LLC, but you can be taxed as an S corporation or a partnership. So this is something that you need to sit with your lawyer and your accountant to make sure that the tax liabilities will not be as, something as big for you, especially if you don't want a visa, if you want to just come, for example, as a visitor instead of living here. Because we have a lot of people, right, JD, that would just come and open a company but still reside abroad. So you have to be, as I said, you have to sit with your lawyer and accountant to make sure that both the legal entity that you select and the tax entity are in the same, are like walking together for your benefit. And then after that, you have to see if you have a product or a service that you're gonna have to pay sales taxes. It depends on where you sell that product and that service. If it's gonna be through the stream of commerce, online, it really depends on each state. And they have a threshold, of course, on the amount of the products and service that you sell. And also license. For example, if you want to open a hair salon and you're going to have your hairstylist, this hairstylist will need a license to be a hairstylist. Or if you want to sell diamonds, there's something I would love to learn more if you need a license to sell diamonds, because it sounds so fancy. But you might need a license to make sure that the product that you are put on for the public to buy, they are genuine and you are not buying a fake diamond, for example. You probably need not only talking about the license, but you need an insurance, right? And they're gonna have coverage for your business. But other than this, the process itself, the techniques to get it done are not that complex and complicated to open and to have it.
Running business.
Yes. Yeah.
So you pretty much guarantee on a basic business, 72 hours will be at least
here in Texas.
Here in
yes,
Texas,
here in Texas. Yeah, and
will
I'm
be the
pretty sure
basic.
the other states, yeah, I'm pretty sure the other states are as fast as Texas.
Right, he's incoming. There's money coming to the government. It got to be boom, boom, like fast here, there. I understand. And going with what you just said, not really just related to diamonds, but any other stuff that is to sell. Like you said that we know a lot of people that would just come over here and open a business, but it's not as simple as that, right? Because just
Yeah, no, because as I said, it depends on the type of entity you
market.
select with the Secretary of State, right? It will have an impact on how you're going to be taxed.
Okay.
So the accountant would have to know if you have like shareholders that are all foreigners, if you have a shareholder that it's only a company, you have to know if you have a shareholder that's an American. So it will all that will all wait in on what type of tax entity you're gonna be filing your taxes. And also the other thing is you can be, if you don't reside in the US, you're gonna be filing your taxes as a non-resident initially, but then it depends on how frequently you come and go to the United States. You might eventually be taxed as a resident. And once you do that, you have to declare worldwide income, not only income in the US.
Okay. Let's my next question is for somebody that do not want to open a business. Uh Graça Chris, just to respond somebody, yes, we're gonna leave Mrs. Bruna Frota's contact email, any ways that you can contact them later on the comments or when we edit this video and post on our pages. So stay with us. She also gonna give her information of how can you contact her. And I was about to ask you, Bruna, if I had to, if I know somebody that just want to immigrate over here, but it's not through a business, what is the other ways besides coming from school or and change your status or open a business or marry somebody? Is there any other ways for somebody just to come and become a citizen and live here and then figure out what's going to do with their lives? Because we know people that they probably have their finances straight somewhere and they would like just to move their families here. For example, let's say I work in Angola and I want just to move my family to live over here, and I want my family to live here and they have all the documentations for my kids to go to school while I go back and forth. Is that possible?
Yes, I mean, the majority of the employment-based green cards, you have to continue working on your field of endeavor, right? The only one that would now require you to work at all would be the EB5 investor visa, the one that you have to invest 800,000 or $1.2 million. Other than this, if you qualify under the merit-based green card, you have to show somehow to the US government that you're going to bring something tangible to the economy, the society. So it's not just for you to sit here and bring your family over. You have to actually contribute to the society.
Well, it's very good. I understand because I live here, but I know a few investors, business owners from Angola, and they or engineers, that work offshore, and they move their families somewhere else, other countries. I have friends that have family in Brazil, in Portugal, other ones they move their family here. Uh, Basically, what I was trying to say is. Actually, I got your point. So if they don't move through one of those terms that we said, the only way would be to invest or buy the green card, right? That's pretty much what you said, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, I have a lot of people, for example, from Africa that even though, I mean, they bring their families, they come with a student visa, for example. But when they apply for the employment-based green card based on their professional achievements, they are saying, government, I have the intention to work in the future in the US. So what I'm saying is, whatever you do to get the green card, you have to persuade the government that you're going to bring some benefit with your work. So if the intention is 100% not to work at all, then I guess I cannot ethically say you get the green card and then you never work. This is not the way the process works here. It's legally you have to give it back. So you can get the investor visa, as I said, then you don't. Yes.
No, I was just kind of completing what you're saying. We gotta be productive. We gotta have plans for the future. We cannot just bring our families and see them over here and live here. That's basically what you say. Unless they older, right? Because I also saw a case of somebody's grandmother. She came over, she became sick, and then she just changed her status. I didn't ask deep questions about it, but she was just leaving because of the age and stuff like that, right? In this case, is that a difference, right?
Yeah, so probably, yeah, so there are some humanitarian visas, but they are not green cards. Or maybe she's here with a tourist visa for medical treatment, and she can remain here while she's getting treatment. But again, she's putting money into the healthcare system of the United States, so they are letting her stay. But I mean, as I said, unless you have family to sponsor you, which was not your question, it's gonna be professional, yeah, based on your merit or money.
Okay. Well, also I want to ask you, what is with everything happening, COVID-19, all this pandemic, and also I want to take this time to also send a message to everybody out there. Please stay home, be safe, wear masks, and do everything the government says. It don't matter where you at. Just follow your government's instructions, because coronavirus is definitely changing everybody's life. And I want to know what are the new laws that the United States government or President Trump just announced for immigrants that we need to know uh, right now, or which ones are the laws that are upcoming that they planning to put out there that is going to affect us immigrants?
Okay, so they are planning. Okay, I'll just cover I'll just cover the main ones, and they are not laws. Yeah, they are not laws itself. They are more of regulations and policies. So they are not changing any law, because if they want to change laws, they have to go through Congress. They have to get the vetting process done. But for now, everything that Trump has done is all based on executive orders. So the first one is there is something available for international students, F1, that they have been through some struggle financially because of any circumstances that are beyond their control. For example, they have a sponsor that is in Angola, in Brazil, and then the currency now doesn't have the same value as before. And they are sponsoring the studies of someone in the US in dollars, right? In US dollars. So there is something for available to those students, as long as they can prove to the school that there has been some changes to the financial capability of the sponsor, covering the expenses of that student in the US, so the student will not become a public charge to the government. The student asks for a work permit, okay? It's not an OPT, it's not a CPT, it's a work permit based on, most likely, usually, the financial struggle that this student is going through. However, you have to be in at least 1 year in school, okay? And then you can request, yes, and then you can request the designated school official, the DSO, to endorse your I-20 with this authorization to work off campus. And then with that, the I-20 updated, you apply for your work permit with USCIS, the immigration agency.
Wow.
Yes.
But
There
this
has
is a new.
been, this
No,
is
I was.
not new.
Oh,
So this
okay.
is not new. What happened was the government,
Because I
the
never heard
US,
about it.
yeah,
That's why I was.
it has been, it's actually a law. It's in the laws. Okay. They call it exceptional circumstances work permit. But what the government did was when COVID-19 started, they have a web page, the USCIS agency, which is the immigration agency inside the United States. They created a page only for COVID-19 resources. And then when you enter that web page, they have a link that goes to employment authorization based on exceptional circumstances. So then people started to link COVID-19 to this request of exceptional circumstances, but it's not new, okay? The law has been always there. What the government did was COVID-19 might have brought some exceptional circumstances to your lifestyle, on your, not lifestyle, let me rephrase it, at least on
Mhm.
how you can maintain yourself in the US and your family and not become a public charge. So I will allow you to work temporarily. So when everything has been restored, then you can just work as you are. I mean, only study as you were supposed to do. Okay.
So let me clear it up a little bit because I know I have the modesty living, a few other people that I know they students right now. She's actually my sister, Isabel, and a few other people that are tuning with us, and they probably really interested in this particular information. So this is not new. This is being out there. Coronavirus did actually just came to uh, put it out there, put a spotlight on these little subjects that people usually don't. If you don't contact a lawyer, you'll never find out, right? That's basically the law's been there.
Well, yes, the law has been there. If usually the schools will not. I mean, it will not be at least easy to find. Is that is to find like the the requirements to get an OPT or CPT or on-campus employment. But this has been around. It was actually my master's thesis. I I wrote about it at the time.
Wow, wow. So students out there, you are about to talk to the right person. She been a student before. She knows the struggle. She know where you're coming from, and also she have an international background because she's from Brazil, which is great. I want to ask you a few more questions, Bruna, about related to. No, go ahead. You want to
So
say
you
something?
wanted me to so do you want me to talk more about some of the changes?
Yes, yes. I was before I ask you the question, I was about to ask you: is there any other laws, not just related to students? I was about to ask you because I have family. You know, I have a family here. I have kids as well. Is there any other laws concerned to immigrants that have kids and they kids are American, but the parents may be still into a process to get a green card? What's the new laws for this? Because people who got kids, you know, we cannot sleep and let the new laws hit us and affect our lives. Is there any new
Right.
law regarding to this?
So I'm trying to process what is exactly
Oh, okay.
what's the goal of your question.
No, my question is let's. My question is basically about the new laws. Is there any new law that came out? Because I'm not a lawyer, and I don't know much about the new laws that came up, especially after COVID-19. And my question was: is there any law that came out that would affect, or any law that we as international parents need to know, either to protect our children, to help our children? We out there watching the news, but the news constantly change, and they sometimes don't tell you the law. We need to look for you or another attorney. Is there anything? If nothing changed, that's fine. We just. But I was just trying to find out if there's something that Trump just said yesterday, I didn't hear about it. It came out, you know. He usually like that. I usually wake up tomorrow, the next day, Trump just said this, and I gotta worry about it. That's why I'm asking right now if it's anything else new that we as a.
Okay. So what I'm thinking here, I hope I will try to answer your question. So by end of April, I guess it was April 23rd, Trump said everybody that is outside the US and is going through the green card process, which is called the immigrant visa application, and you are under this process, you cannot get your visa issued for 60 days. So till the end of June, you cannot get your visa issued unless you qualify under certain exceptions, okay? So when this proclamation came out, everybody kind of freaked out because they were like, oh my gosh, I cannot apply for the immigrant visa. However, the changes were not that big because the consulates and embassies were closed anyways. Okay. So they are just like processing visa interviews on an emergency basis. So everybody that is abroad, for example, and want to renew their work visas or get a student visa, the consulates and embassies are closed. Okay. So right now the government is saying only foreigners coming to work within the forefront of attacking coronavirus, they are welcome to come. So healthcare professionals, right? If you are an investor in EB5 and you are going through the green card process, you can still come. If you are, for example, spouse or a child of a United States citizen or a green card holder, you can still process your green card. So, but usually the most common green cards, for example, employment-based, EB2, EB3, EB1, they are all paused until the end of June, okay?
Okay.
So, but not here for people inside the United States, only for people abroad.
Okay. I'm going to change a little bit and just talk. I'm sorry, people who only speak English. We're just going to change a little bit for a few minutes to Portuguese just to compliment to people that are out there. My question I'm going to ask in Portuguese, and I expecting Bruna to respond in Portuguese as well. Bruna, para quem mora fora dos Estados Unidos e pretende trazer trabalhar aqui nos Estados Unidos, qual é o processo e quanto tempo dura para aplicar para o visto de trabalho aqui? Mais ou menos qual é o tempo? O processo é praticamente ser contratado por uma companhia, não é? Mas qual é o tempo?
Os mais comuns são os vistos onde você é contratado por uma empresa, mas também existem os tipos de visto em que você pode se autopatrocinar baseado, de novo, no seu mérito, né? A maioria dos vistos, visto de trabalho, você precisa de uma petição aprovada pelo governo americano antes que você vá fazer a entrevista no consulado ou na embaixada. Então, a maioria dos tipos de vistos de trabalho tem um tipo de taxa extra que você paga para ter o processo analisado em 15 dias. Então, assim, junto, né, all together, eu diria que em torno de mais ou menos 1 mês a 2 meses, se tudo der certo, para você conseguir um visto de trabalho e vir. Mas assim, de novo, don't quote me on that, porque tem tantos tipos de visto, tantos tipos diferentes de processamento, tem tipo de visto que você pode fazer direto no consulado. Então, depende. Mas assim, um rule of thumb, 1 mês, 2 meses.
Ok. Boa. E no caso, por exemplo, eu convido várias vezes, eu trago músicos angolanos e brasileiros para aqui nos Estados Unidos para fazer eventos. Eu posso entrar em contato com você para fazer esse processo, que às vezes é uma dor de cabeça, ter que falar com as pessoas lá no outro país, ter que fazer o processo. Em casos como esse, posso entrar em contato com a advogada, posso entrar em contato com a Bruna, no caso, ou alguém que estiver em Angola ou no Brasil e queira fazer um show, por exemplo, músicos, eu conheço vários músicos, e eles querem vir para cá para fazer um show com visto legalizado, trabalho, tudo correto. Posso entrar em contato com a Bruna?
Pode sim. Tem tanto visto de habilidades extraordinárias nas artes, né? Como também tem um tipo de visto quando você faz parte de um grupo, por exemplo, é, que tem uma música culturalmente reconhecida, por exemplo. Vamos dizer que é uma dança de Angola, vamos pensar no Zouk. Vocês têm uma
Não,
banda de
Kizomba.
Zouk,
Kizomba. Em Angola é
Kizomba.
Kizomba. Uhum.
Kizomba. Então você tem uma banda de Kizomba e você quer vir tocar aqui em Houston. Se a gente mostrar que aquele tipo de música, né? Ele é uma música específica de Angola, por exemplo, que você tem que ter um tipo de conhecimento cultural específico. Existe um tipo de visto temporário para você vir tocar aqui nos Estados Unidos, que é baseado nisso, ser culturalmente específico. Você não precisa mostrar que você é uma pessoa extraordinária em Kizomba, mas que a música em si, ela é genuína, ela é especial culturalmente.
Ok. Então isso é fácil. Tem vários gênios aí perdidos em Angola, tem vários.
É ótimo, me
E eles
chama.
vêm. Não, eu chamo sim, eu chamo porque é isso que eu ia falar. Can you go back to English a little bit? That's what I was about to say. Sometimes is a lack of knowledge because some of the artists that I would invite, some of them were already they already had tourist visa or visitor visa to come over here. So I want to walk with the law. So I
Right.
want to ask you the right questions and contact the right people, even though maybe a little bit uh, it's less stressful. I wouldn't call more expensive. I would just call less stressful because I deal with that and I know what we're talking about. My other questions that I want to ask you is we didn't save the material before when we start the live. Can I go back and ask you again some of the questions that I asked at the beginning so we can have the material for the program? Before we go any
Sure.
further, keep após, after these questions, our followers, everybody that's tuning in with us, is going to ask questions and you can just answer them. Can we do that?
Of course.
And one more time, thank you for your time, Bruna, and if for understanding that these things in life happen. So, can you tell us again what's your definition of success?
Okay. So my definition of success nowadays is having enough resources, financial resources, so I can travel anywhere I want to go. Financial resources to plan the future of my kids. Financial resources to plan my retirement. Having the flexibility of having someone help in my house, for example, because as everybody knows here in the US, it's very expensive to have a housekeeper, for example. So for me right now, quality of life is like being able to have someone helping me with the house stuff, as well as at least be successful with my profession and being a mom. This is success to me.
That's great. And what's your habits for success? I remember you said something that you have like Warren Buffett habits. You read, you run.
Nothing. I don't read 100 books a week. I don't like run 10 miles a day. I, I actually, I love what I do. So I read a lot about immigration and business law. So those are my favorite subjects. I watch the news 24/7, so I'm always updated on the latest news out there, politically, economically, socially. And I love watching movies, documentaries, series. I guess those are my habits.
Again, going back to spend time with your family as well. Includes spending time
Yes.
with your family. Okay, that's
Yes,
great.
family, friends, yes.
And now, can you tell us the name when your law firm starts, and also can you tell our audience your contacts so people can contact you after this live tomorrow, next month? Can you do that for us, please?
Yeah, so the name of my law firm is Immigration and Nationality Law Group, PLLC. I have been practicing immigration and business law for 10 years now. I am 100% American lawyer. Though I have a law degree from Brazil, I don't know anything about Brazilian laws nowadays. It's very
Because they
easy
change
to,
as well, right?
they change and they are very complex too. I imagine the Angolan and Portuguese and Mozambique laws are also very, very complex. So the way, I mean, to contact me is very, very easy. You can send WhatsApp message. My WhatsApp is 281-908-6450. You can call me, the same number. You can send me an email to bfrota@nationalitylaw.com. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Frota Bruna. And you can send me directs. It's fine. I have Facebook. My Facebook is, I have two. I have my personal, which is Frota Bruna, but I kind of use as a business Facebook as well, my business profile, but I also have my business account is INLG PLLC. You can text me, same number, 281-908-6450. And I guess that's it.
All right. So everybody listen up. Again, Bruna is somebody that understands your background. I'm not just out here promoting. I'm out here learning, and I'm fascinated with everything that she's saying. Of course, you can tell the experience and how competent somebody is by talking to this person. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm learning. I like it. I recommend it already. I'm gonna use it for me and my family. I'm gonna use her services, and not just because we're talking live, because this was just kind of a way that I started to get to know Bruna and start business. If you're a business or a person, entrepreneur, business owner, a musician out there in Angola, Brazil, anywhere in the world, you can contact Bruna by the contact information she just provided to us, and we also gonna provide later on when we edit all these videos. So stay with us, and we have more questions to ask Bruna. And also, everybody out there at home, if you have questions for Bruna, if you have questions that you want to ask right now, please post your questions. We're going to be sharing this impression and asking Bruna several questions about immigration. Bruna, again, about immigration, and this is something that is very complex for everybody that being living here because of all the changes that we've been going through. Do you think after coronavirus would be easier or harder for people to immigrate to the United States in general? Any type of business and stuff?
So if you are coming to get a work visa, I believe it's going to be harder because of all the layoffs, the furlough. So I guess President Trump, he tried to protect the internal job market. But we have brilliant people come from abroad. So I think he's going to get a lot of resistance. And people trying, I mean, and lobbyists also in Congress trying to at least avoid that those new policies or regulations will be in place. So I guess we might face some resistance, as I said, but for like student visas, I don't think it's going to be much harder to get as it is now because the United States, they want investment in the country. So the foreign students, they bring a lot of money to the country. At least, I mean, for family reunification, they have to keep the status quo. I don't think that's going to change. So we have to watch and see. And we need to get like a lot of healthcare professionals. We need to get engineers. You need, as I said, brilliant minds in this country. And that's what the US is made for. We are made of immigrants, brilliant immigrants, people that will just contribute to that country.
Thank you for what you said right now. Me as an immigrant and everybody home already feeling a little bit brilliant and stuff. But that's true. This country is built by immigrants, and we are hard worker, and we actually driven by our needs and what motivate us from coming from different society and backgrounds. That's why we need you a lot. We need your service, and hopefully more people can achieve those goals. Because being uh, walking next to the law is one of the main pillars to achieve success. Being legal, have all your documentations, have your lawyers ready is one of the keys to success.
That's true. That's true. It's very hard to have at least an easy success in US if you don't have the right paperwork.
True. Uh, I'm gonna keep ask questions and wait for our audience to ask more questions. I was giving the time, so if anybody have questions, I'm gonna keep asking Bruna about a few more things. Bruna, did you how many people you helped already? Because I saw a video of recommendation on your page. Is it, I mean, just with your own firm? I know you have way more experience from uh, other big law firms that you were working with, but with your law firm, how many people were you able to help them to get visas, green card, or socials, anything like that?
Oh my gosh, thousands. Thousands.
There you go.
And I
Thank
have
you.
some of my clients watching me now. That's the thousands.
That's great. That's good. This is just to let people know, everybody that is out there that don't know you, so they don't just think, oh, we just promoting business. We actually helping people to get to the right people. That's one of our main goals here. One hour success, motivate, connect people, especially us that come from a Lusophonia background. We all speak Portuguese, so we gotta, you know, the word of this country says it all. United, you stand. If all Portuguese people stay united, work together, we would have a stronger community and better contribution for this society, as well of our
Right.
societies back home. Uh, okay, I have a question. A question from Fabio Lima, and he's asking for those that lost their job while in HB1 visa or L1, can they apply for EB2 visa?
Yes, that's the national interest waiver category that I was talking about, that you don't need a sponsor. So you can actually apply for the green card, and after 5 months you get a combo card that will allow you to both work in the US as well as travel internationally. So that's a good option for those that wanted to remain in the US and work for any employer and travel as well abroad. So yes, this is one of the options. We have the EB1, extraordinary ability. So it depends on every person's personal situation. So you said it right, JD. They need to contact me, and I'll find a
Yeah,
solution.
they need in contact with you because I've been through. I've been here for almost 15 years now, and since I got here, my family we've been going to lawyer, sometimes hear different opinions. And one
Mm-hmm.
thing that it definitely helps is to talk to somebody that speaks your language. You know, I spoke to
Right.
a Brazilian attorney before. He helped my mom when she was here. My mother used to live here as well, just like all my siblings, most of my siblings, and he helps a lot. So if you're out there and you need a attorney that speak your language, you already found one. Thank me later, but please use the service, do the right thing, be on the right path for your success. This is very
Mm-hmm.
important. I'm going to ask another question um, about immigration, which is with. I'm sorry. Let me just put the questions together. The question together with everything that is going on right now. All these changes. Do you gonna increase your team? You're gonna keep working from home. What's your plans for the future, specifically with your law firm?
So my team, as I said, it's growing. We are growing every day, the number of cases, and we are just ready to get on more cases to talk to you. So, for example, I have one paralegal in Ohio. She's moving to Pennsylvania, and we are growing our presence in the US. I have some of my other paralegals in Brazil working for me. And I also have some outside counsels working on a contract basis as well. So we are just growing. We are not stopping. We are not afraid of the changes in the law because, as I said, with ethics and legal strategy, we can always overcome complex situations.
Okay, and como Portuguese trying to pull out of my mouth so bad. With everything that all the experience that you have, we have almost a minute to finish this first part of the live. Are you gonna have more time to come back, Bruna, for a few more minutes just for us to complete?
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna just finish this thing. We still got 2 minutes to talk.
Yes.
Somebody asked you, is there anybody that speaks French on your team?
Yes, we have someone that speaks French, and we also have people that speak Spanish.
How many language? So your team is very international, right? How
Very
many?
international. So everybody speaks Portuguese.
Okay.
I lived in France with my husband before coming to the US. So I speak French, and I have also people in my team that speaks French. And being here in Texas, we kind of learn how to speak Spanish by just talking with other Hispanic nationals in Texas. So my team here in Texas also speak Spanish.
Okay. So your whole team is bilingual some way, somehow.